Good afternoon. Jeff Sam Tolbert here, Sound of Joy Music Services, stmusician.com. Stop by our website and check us out. Here we have another Saturday live video session. As I've often said, my one of my purposes in life is to help musicians become more comfortable with their keyboard of choice, be it piano or a live acoustic piano or a keyboard. So as I wait for others to come in, and just give you a chance to cover what we're going to cover on today's session. As you see our title posted, a fun way to practice scales. Now, I realize that a lot of musicians that have learned the actual traditional way have found playing scales to be such a challenge and an actual bore because it requires you to just sit there constantly and play the same pattern back and forth. Now, fortunately for me, I'd never had a formal piano teacher. Welcome, Christopher, to show me how to play scales and to get me bored with it. So I learned in my own way how to articulate scales and not to make it boring, just to sit and make it an actual exercise where, number one, I'm training my fingers to play and I'm hearing different tones. So I would take a scale from a traditional way and find chords around it. Welcome, Claude. I would just go still playing a scale, but now I've included chords with it. Let me slow that down. Now I've given the scale an actual song versus just welcome, James. And then I'm going to go back down. Now, not as boring as it was before, because now I've got to think left and right hand, and then I got to match the scale with the actual chords. Made a little change there. Another change. A little more difficult. Throw a B flat in it to make it a C seventh. Throw in a D seventh and change the whole texture of the chord, keeping the scale the same. Now, this comes in handy for if I was going to write a song, what chords can be associated with where the scale is going. So, and you often say, well, okay, that's one way of doing it. How can I make it more fun? That's when you would introduce perhaps an actual tempo or an actual beat to it. Now, the keyboard that I'm using doesn't give me a metronome unless I'm in the record mode. So I'm going to select a drum pattern to practice scales with. Now, you can't do this with an actual acoustic piano unless you have an actual rhythm machine with you. So I'm going to see, what do I want to use? There's so many beats here. I don't want it too fast. I'm going to have to adjust the tempo. There's a jazz kit. Don't use a jazz kit. Let's try the jazz kit. Now I've got to set my tempo. It's too fast at 138. So I'm going to set the tempo for good practice tempo is 86. Let's see what we got. That's a little bit too slow. That's too slow. Well, for practice. Oh, welcome, James. Family there. So that's a little too slow. I'm going to speed it up a little bit. 126. And now, with a drum pattern or a rhythm in the background, makes scale practice a little bit easier. Because now I can get the actual syncopation of what I want to do. Builds a discipline. All right. I'm going to keep that same tempo there. Let's try those changes that I put in there. 1, 2, ready, and... Now that makes it a little bit difficult because now your left hand has to follow in an actual tempo pattern with your right hand. So now you may need to omit some chords. Still a bit difficult because you're in that same timing. But really, the intent for playing scales is to train both hands. And together. Now, repetitious, yes, but with a nice tempo in the background. If you knew how to do what they call the bebop beat. Yes, that is a little difficult trying to keep that pattern. So we have what I call the gospel bass run. Just a gospel bass run in tempo. I messed up there. There it is. The idea is to wind up on that C. My hand and my head are hearing two different things going on. So my left hand is trying to throw in what I would normally throw if I was doing an actual jazz run. So with my right hand trying to do the scale, I'm clashing with what the left hand wants to do. That's both sides of the brain thinking at the same time. I'm thinking of a song, not playing scales. How it should have been, but now I'm getting in sync with my head. messed up. Something about a jazz beat in the background lends you to just throwing the chords in there. Now, how can I throw that scale? I'm introducing now. Oh, welcome, Poet EDTV. Yeah, it's because I played so much gospel in my life that I had to build a scale around traditional gospel songs just so I can feel comfortable in what I was doing. Now, the idea of introducing chords to making playing the scales fun is that you don't have to be limited to this. Especially in this tempo, which is a little at 126 beats a minute, is a little faster from a practice standpoint. I would practice at 165 beats per second when I would do, my shouting runs. That's the speed that I usually practice at. Yeah. I like it better when it's up here. But again, it's the idea of this session is to make it fun playing scales, because again, the beat going in the background. Let's slow you down a bit. There we go. Limit you just a bit. You've got to be able to be creative in what you're doing, especially playing scales. Bring that beat up a bit. It helps. Now it's a jazz scale, a jazz beat, which means you're not really limited to just single notes, but play with the actual beat. Let me see. If I hear what the cymbal is doing, there it is. The rhythm of it. Now it comes different. That's when you add in the extra stuff, just to make it more fun. Now I'm probably going out on a stretch there, but the idea is to make playing scales fun. Finding ways to make it fun. Just find your own way to make it fun. Making this up as I go. Missed it. In my head, I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing in my head. The practice scales. And of course, the left hand is sitting there going, what am I supposed to do? So I can throw some chords in there. Again, when you're playing jazz, you have to find those chords that actually drop down. If that beat chords in the left hand, I bet playing the scale in triplets would be fire. Once you get comfortable in what you're doing, you can find everything to do, especially within a nice tempo like this. Again, the idea is to find what's comfortable or what you would feel comfortable doing. No, this is fine, perfectly fine. Break it up. Whichever way is more comfortable for you to find your way around what you want to do. Again, left hand, that's a scale. It's all a scale. Come out of it and resolve. That is a scale. It's running perhaps the bass notes. In fact, let me put this in a, I messed up. I wanted to put it in a bass tone. Didn't mean to do that and mess up my beat. But to show you that when you have a keyboard that gives you different sounds, it allows you to practice in a different way. I'm going to pick a pattern of bass that I like. All right, that's the one I like. So then we go back in and we find that. No. I'm trying to find a nice bass sound. Yeah, I like that one. Go back and find that beat again. We used jazz. Now your keyboard might be different than what I'm using. My jazz beat, and we had 126. Let's see if we can find that 126 beat we were doing. I'm programming it by pattern to find it. I just had it and I just lost it. You know how many times I've had it and didn't stop. Okay, 124. With a nice bass pattern or nice bass sound, and you want to practice scales on your left hand, the same thing. good for left hand practicing. Now think bass. Think. Can't think of my bass pattern. There it is. This is all scale practice, believe it or not. All staying within the beat. Scale practice, again, is teaching your hands how to move independently. Now, we're not doing chords. We're just doing bass lines, which is a good practice for left hand. Now, a lot of musicians, they would ask me sometimes, how do I get my left hand so fluid? Because I practice scales. Now, this is a slow tempo. Quit the tempo where I usually practice at. And that's 300. That's my normal practice speed for left hand with my bass hand. Here it's 300 beats per minute, and I do it in every key. There it is. The old gospel bass run. Staccato. Again, this is all practice. There it is. There it is. F. Yeah, I haven't done this in a while. But just to show you that the idea is to find a practice mode in which that you're going to use to be able to build dexterity in your fingers and the ability to master chords. I say chords because chords are built on scales. When you can get through the scales, all the chords I play are found with, it's a how can I put it? Conglomerate, is that the word? All these notes are where chords are found. It's what you omit that makes that sound. What counts were you just doing now? 300 beats per minute. That's where I usually practice at. Now again, that's with this built-in rhythm section here. It may be a little bit faster with a different drum machine. But the idea is to be fluid. And again, major scale, I always say practice the chromatic scale because you want to be able to hear where every note is. With both hands, of course. Missed it. something went wrong. There it is. You miss one note and it kind of throws everything off. But even something like that, it's just giving your hands an ability to play something that you don't normally play. Teaching them how to move. Your ears are hearing the different tones of each note. Every tone of C is different. And when you want to hear a chord that's built on a scale, you hear every note. Can't get that high. Still built, found within all section of keys. Let me see, what's another chord? Right, okay. Found within all of these notes, but I'm just omitting a lot of them. But unless you know that this is a lower note and that's a higher note, you won't find the ones that are in between. And of course, when you add the black keys, it changes that whole tonality of those chords to let you know that they all do fit. Not all together, of course. You don't want to play all these together, but you want to be able to break it up. Doing scales is the only way to get comfortable finding your way. Sorry about that. I like to do this. Keeps my hands free. It allows you to exercise, which is what this is. This is just an exercise. It's just an exercise in every key. Now, when I'm thinking about it, I always mess up. It's when I'm not thinking about it, it becomes fluid. Missed it. I should know that that's for E flat. But when you're playing scales and you're using your mind to construct what you want to do, it becomes very easy to do. Very easy. You do octaves. You build chords. And you add to it. It's that fun part of practicing that I like to that whenever I sit down to practice, again, the basics first, just to get comfortable, and then I expand on it. What do I want to do? And then I expand on that. Let me see. D7. Diminish. And to a -6. No, not a -6. That's the -6. 6 chord. And go back down. Just adding a change and resolving. Any questions? Sometimes I find on these videos I do so much talking, I don't take time to take any questions. Should every finger be able to play a note? Yes. Should be able to switch in time. Every finger. thumb should be able to play the scale. Middle finger, fourth finger, pinky, thumb, switch anytime. Any finger should be able to do it. Now, the idea for being able to switch is when you want to do a jazz run, every finger has to play its part. Let me see. Trying to think of a jazz run. There's that one. There it is. Every finger has to be able to give you that access to the note. Bum, 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 bum. Now I want to do a change or a trill. And that's only from training your fingers how to play scales. Let's bring back our jazz beat. Here we go. Because playing jazz notes is another form of playing scales. And we're gonna, let's see what tempo we have. That's good. Let's see what beat. Finding a different. Okay, I like that. Just using the jazz beat. In my head, I'm saying those notes, and my hand knows to go. In my head, because I know where the scales are, I can go bum 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 da 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 bum 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 da 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 da, because I know that this is a major C. Bum 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 A flat bum G bum G flat bum F bump E flat bump D bump all because I practice scales. I'm thinking. In my head, I'm hearing those notes, and I know where they are. A. Bum, 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 bum. A. Diminished. Dum 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 ba da dum 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 missed it. So scales give me the ability to know where the notes should be, how I think about it. Musicians who don't play with sheet music have to rely on what they've done in their actual practice sessions. I don't have any sheet music in front of me. I'm making it up as I go. Making it all up. And I'm just using this rhythm. It depends upon, I could have picked another rhythm and I'd be doing a different set of thought processes to doing the scale. And again, all I'm doing is scales, but I'm breaking them up. That's what I want to hear. I can hear a wrong note if I don't play it right. Guess what? Let's stop and come out of that. So the scales are, it's a way of training your hands to move, freeing your mind to think of more than just chords all the time. But then as you become more familiar with where the scales are, it opens you up to where all the other chords are. I'm more comfortable going down. As I say, it becomes difficult when I'm thinking about it, versus just letting it just fly. I like to just break it up sometimes. But in another key, just let it just roll. Because my hands, when they can spread like this for the other keys, it feels more comfortable. Well, I've got 38 minutes in already. I hope I'm sharing something that when you review this this video here on YouTube, that I've shared something that you can actually take to your keyboard and practice. Sometimes I'm a little bit faster than I should be, only because I want you to look at the beginning of the video and see how does he be able to get his hands to just move. How does he get his hands to move that quick on the keyboard? Because he takes the time to practice, not just in one key, but in every key. I missed one. And when it becomes boring, find some beat. Let's see if we can find another one that wasn't jazz to add into what we were doing. That's not what I want. I've messed up my settings here. Here we go. Let's find another beat that is not jazz. Power standard. Let's see what this is. Just standard rock beat. Let's try a different one. No, I don't want that. All right, next one. That's like a gospel beat. like a standard gospel beat. Practice to that. I'd have to speed that up. See what happens if I speed it up. Probably not that one either. What's the next one? Okay, each beat changes on me. I like the hip hop too. I'm sure you know that song. A song based on the scales. Let me see. That other song that is based on the scales. Set praise song is based on the scales. I'm trying to think of the song. Everybody sings it. I'm trying to get the praise song that is based on the scales. And the E flat. Oh man, my mind has just lost me. Change key. Throw it in there. I'm messing up. I'm trying to think of the other song that we used to do, the praise song. Oh, give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good. Yes, he's built on a scale. Oh, give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good. Yes, he's scale, for he is good. All the notes on the scale are used. For he is good. Yes, he is good. For he is worthy. For he is good. Yes, he is. Oh, give thanks uses every note in the scale. Go back to C. Scales. So many songs are based off of a basic scale in key of G. When you know your drum patterns, you can time it like that. So as you see, I give you an example of practicing scales. Some of your uh, traditional praise and worship songs, which are built on those scales, and then you take the chords that are found around those scales to add to color up the melody of a scale being played. I love playing in A flat as much as I love playing in C and D flat and E flat and G flat. So I'm going to stop this right here, running up on 51 minutes. If you have any questions that you may want to ask about my interpretation of making scales fun that can help you build upon what you already know, if you heard any of my videos, I've often said I'm not trying to create another Sam Tolbert out of you. I want to create the best musician you could possibly be by giving you tips and techniques that I've used over the years to help me interpret music. And as you can hear me in my very sorrowful way, trying to emulate a sound of a vocal instrument, that allows me to know what I want to do. If I want to be in B flat and do a scat and do a scat, I need to be able to do that and know where it's going. I need to be able to know I can hear it and my fingers can go to wherever that is. There we go. So if I hear it in my head, I should be able to find it. I should be able to find it by knowing where the scales are, the interpretation of tones that I can hear in my head and make it up as I go, and then be able to emulate that on, in my case, a piano or piano or keyboard. Those musicians that play with instruments, they're the real challenges. They can do it by moving their fingers across their instruments. I only have this. So this is Sam Tolbert again, Sound of Joy Music Services, stmusician.com. Stop by our website and check us out, see what we're doing there, see how we can help you as a musician expand on what you currently know and help you grow to be the best you could possibly be. Thanks for spending some time with us today on this Saturday, and I look to see you the next time soon. Take care, be blessed, and please stay healthy.